Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Metallica recently did this interesting concert straight from Arlington, Texas, which I've actually been to Arlington, Texas. I don't live there, but I've been there. And so the concert was interesting. It was a couple of weekends ago, and it was broadcast throughout the world, 75 countries, on closed circuit movie theater screens. So you could actually buy a ticket to see this Metallica concert. Trying to remember the exact name of the event. I think it was M75 live in concert. Apparently, Metallica has done 75 tours. So I guess they probably did, 2 or 3 tours a year in order to make that number. Now, if you're, look, I'm not an aficionado of Metallica, but I do enjoy them. I've seen them in concert in person, in real life, I believe 4 times. I can't remember the fourth time, but I think that I remember the first 3 times. And look, they were always a goddamn great band in concert. As a matter of fact, the first time I saw Metallica in concert, I didn't even own a Metallica CD or an album or anything. I was not familiar with their music before I saw them live. And that sounds a little absurd, but it's true. But the first time I saw them live, I became a Metallica fan, and I have been ever since. So I'm not a guy that's going to go around and wear, a James Hetfield is God t-shirt or anything. But I have enjoyed them. I did see they've had a couple of other movie experiences. They had that documentary, Some Kind of Monster, which I think is actually excellent. They kind of have a pseudo follow-up. They have a master class on masterclass.com, which I get no fucking residual from, but they're on there. And they did have like this very interesting, it wasn't really animated, but it was like kind of an interesting movie about 10 years ago that I actually did see in the theater. I drove like an hour to see this thing in a movie theater. It wasn't animated, but it was like some kid, like a Metallica fan or whatever the fuck. And so they've done movie stuff before. So what I like about Metallica, if since you're asking, is that they are willing to kind of expand what a band is supposed to be or supposed to do. They've worked with symphony orchestras. I think they're intelligent guys, and I mean they're also, capitalists. Okay, which I'm not opposed to, and we all know the story of them and Napster and all that good stuff. But basically, I bought my ticket. What I do like about, and I'm just going to get into the weeds a little bit. I bought my tickets to see these guys, to see this 2-night movie experience. Here's the layout. Night one was live on Friday. If you missed night one on Friday live at 9 o'clock, it was actually scheduled at 9:15. You could get a ticket on Saturday night to see the replay from Friday night of night one. Night two live was Sunday. And I think this was the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th that weekend. And night two replay was on Monday. So basically, you had 2 nights of live music with 2 replay nights. So you can mix and match this thing. I'm sure that there's some assholes that saw both nights twice or whatever the fuck. I'm sure there were some guys like that went for all 4 nights. I originally planned to go the Friday and the Sunday. The Sunday came around and I actually had a head cold. My cold was head, or my head was cold, or whatever the fuck. So I actually, through the magic of the Fandango and Cinemark apps, I was able to trade in my Sunday night for a Monday night ticket. Now, this is just a little side note. If you are a person that, you don't go to movies all the time or whatever the fuck, still get these apps. And look, I'm just a guy that's kind of stayed away from apps for a good portion of my life. But a lot of times these days, you have to get the app because you're missing out on a lot of perks. And you might be saying, well, gee whiz, Mike, what's that? Well, for instance, I was able to change my ticket. I was able to refund my Sunday night ticket because I wasn't feeling well. And I didn't think I had it in me to sit through another 3-hour concert on Sunday night. I was able to refund my ticket and pick up a ticket for Monday night all through the app without dealing with a human being, some fucking gangly teenager at the movie theater who I would have to explain myself to. I I was able to just use the app, push some buttons. So I'm telling you folks, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to learn how to use these things, okay? It's not my goddamn generation either, but I'm just trying to help, okay? So anyway, I got to see the fucking Friday night show live, and here's my first point of contention. I made a big deal about getting to the theater on time, facilitating, so I'd be in the theater right on time. I had the back row, left corner where I like to sit. Some gentleman was sitting in front of me. He was playing with his goddamn phone, taking selfies of himself. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be looking at this asshole on his phone all night. So I actually moved up, and luckily for me, there was no one sitting in the handicapped row up front. I took a seat. If a handicapped person had rolled in, I would have happily moved out of the seat for them. But nobody came in, okay? So I sat there. I was a little too close for comfort, but at least I was away from the asshole with his cell phone distracting me. And I enjoyed myself. I did notice that a bunch of guys snuck into the theater. Also with the app, I have the whole display, like the whole seating chart. I know who's paid for their seats, who hasn't. And I noticed that these four gentlemen at the Cinemark Tinseltown in Jacksonville had actually cheated the system. They probably saw another movie and then snuck into my goddamn Metallica concert for free. But I'm a nice guy. I let them do it. Because I'm a nice guy. I let them do it. But the movie was, the concert, I should say. Oh, here was the problem. For 45 minutes, starting at 9:15, they kept showing crowd shots, and they kept playing covers of Metallica songs. And I tweeted my frustration, and it turns out that they were actually having audio issues. So after all the hyperbole and after all the goddamn hype, audio issues still can even screw with Metallica. But luckily they figured it out. And they got the show going around 10 o'clock at night. They played for a solid 2 hours, definitely not as long as many Metallica concerts, but their guys are getting older. I mean, Hetfield, the singer, is 60 years old. I'm sure that the youngest guy is probably the bassist. I do like that bassist quite a bit. He's been with them for 20 years, but he's still the new guy. Robert, I believe his name is. I like the whole band, really, but I do think that bassist is a nice fit for them. The other guy quit, 22 or 23 years ago, whatever it's been. The movie Some Kind of Monster, the doc, discusses the whole thing with the turnover of the bassist, which is, to their credit, that was 20 years ago, and that's been like the last, change in the band. And the other changes, who was it? Who was the guy from Megadeth? That guy. The redheaded dude, Dave Mustaine, he was in Metallica for a while. They had a tragic bus accident. Somebody passed away. So these guys have been through some shit, okay? Cliff, wasn't the guy's name Cliff Burton, who unfortunately passed away? I believe he was the original bassist, and then you had the guy that took his place. I'm trying to remember and show off my memory, but I don't know. Kirk, Kirk is still in the band. I like him too. But who was the bassist before this guy? I can see his, but I mean that guy is kind of missing out. Not that he's done a whole fucking thing. Watch that movie, Some Kind of Monster, if you need all these answers. I don't know. I'm tired, but the movie was good. The concert was good. Then I came back on the Monday, and I'm glad that I did that because I felt much better on Monday than I did on Sunday. And once again, I enjoyed the experience. I thought they did a bit of a deeper dive on the Monday set, like not all the songs were like their number one song or whatever the fuck, like, you know what I mean? Like Friday was really like songs you knew by heart, like all the top tenors, and then I believe Sunday was a little deeper dive, and Sunday there was less stalling because they figured out the audio issues. But overall, I had a good time. If I had to compare them, oddly enough, I probably liked the Friday night concert better. I mean, granted, it was a little bit shorter, but just the hits, But I mean, I give these guys a lot of respect. They've been doing this for a long time, and they deserve their flowers, as the goddamn kids say. So that's it, MikeMessier.com, blah, blah, blah. Buy my books. Go to my website, MikeMessier.com. Scroll down and buy my books, and stand me on social, as the website says.